spirited. Guys have good energy. Big challenge this week in Army. Really good football team. They play everybody well. They're a hard team to beat. They don't beat themselves. And a lot of respect for Coach Monk, and one of my better friends. Honestly, we've coached against each other. This will be the fourth time since I've been a head coach. So every year I've been a head coach and have a lot of respect for him, how he does things, their organization, what they're about. Their guys play really hard. They're really well coached. So we've got to match that, elevate maybe some things we're doing and play better. A lot of unique things they present. Defensively, the structure is similar to ours in a lot of ways. And then offensively, obviously, it's unlike anything you see all year. We've seen a ton of tempo teams that want to go as fast as possible. This is kind of the opposite challenge. So we got to play good football. But with that, we'll open it up.
Right after the game, you had kind of talked about the sloppiness and immaturity of this team. How do you feel like they've kind of attacked practice this week after that win?
Yeah, today was the first real day. Like, we did a walkthrough on Saturday just to kind of flush, get the blood moving and kind of flush the last game. And then yesterday was a good day. Today was good, And I'd say this, it's not like it's constant immaturity. It's a different guy raising their hand to do something that is not coached. And so it's not like the same guy over and over. If it's that, then it's easy to go, hey, man, you're not playing anymore. It's just one guy. What it is it's just kind of a group effort of like, hey, one guy, and then it's a different guy, and then it's a different guy. And, and I clarified this yesterday some, like, penalties aren't all the same. So, like, Kevin Adams' defensive pass interference, I'm cool with because it was bang, bang. He was a touch early. I'm not mad about that. Like, what am I going to do? Tell him, hey, like, don't play the ball. Like, he played the ball. It just was a hair early. So it's the we got to avoid the chop block stuff. We got to avoid the holdings on touchdowns scored, and just be a little bit smarter. When we come out of the half and we tell the defense, I personally tell the DBs, hey, a shot's coming the very first drive, and we give up a shot. I'm like, you guys stay on top. I don't care if they hit you on a hitch here. Don't give a go ball. And we give up a go ball. It's like, well, did we talk about that? Yeah. I told them, hey, be ready for a funny kick in the locker room. I said, I don't know that it's going to be a surprise on side, but it could be a sky, a squib, whatever. Be ready for a unique kick. We got one. Didn't, so it's like, hey, we're telling you this is coming. We're coaching you on stuff. Let's just, like, execute those things well. If we hadn't told you something, then that's like, hey, that's my fault. We got to get the guys to understand, like, when we tell them something, it's usually for good reason. It's not like just, for accident. But well, the guys are responding. They're coachable. I don't think it helps them for me to just lose my mind all the time because they're going to tune me out. But we did on Saturday morning when we got the East Carolina game out. I showed them in here on this 2 screens. I said, hey, look, this will cost us. And I showed them the clips. I didn't really get it elevated in my voice. I said, this will cost us. If we have big goals, you can't do this because we will lose games.
This is the first conference opponent that the team played last year, but with so much turnover on both sides, do you even really address the championship loss that much this week?
I think it's inevitable that, like, our guys, even that weren't here, understand that they beat the stew out of us. I mean, it wasn't even close. So but we don't make a big deal of it. It's 2 different teams. They got a couple returning starters on the O-line. Obviously, the quarterback from last year's team is gone. They got one really good safety back. Their 2 linebackers that are really good players are back. One of their edge guys is back. Like, they got some guys back. We have a few guys back. They honestly probably have a couple more true returning stars back than we do. But both teams are very, very new. And so, no, I don't think each game's independent. That game's got no bearing on this game. And so we have to prepare to play a really well-coached, tough team, and they're disciplined. And so we acknowledge, hey, we did play them last year. We watched the tape. We show the issues. We maybe have to identify as coaches what we didn't do well and what we maybe need to change or adapt or evolve. Can't just do the same thing and hope it and get a different result. So just working through some of that. But, yeah, we don't really make a big deal out of it. It's not like a revenge game or anything. It's 2 such different teams.
You mentioned the tempo they have on offense. I mean, just last week, 11-minute scoring drive. What's the challenge in facing a team that's so slow and methodically moves the ball down the field, and how big will time of possession maybe play in this game?
Yeah, it's hard to beat them in time of possession. It's hard to beat them in rushing yards. When they're so committed to the run. They throw the ball for explosive plays at times, but they're committed to staying on schedule, and it's hard to get them behind the chains. That's the biggest challenge. They don't give up a whole lot of 3 and outs. They're problematic in that way. They do a really good job. Like, I think you go back and watch the Kansas State game. They dictated the flow of the game to Kansas State the whole game. I mean, it was played on Army's terms the entire game, and they do that well. And so you have to get defensive stops. You have to maximize your opportunities on offense. You can't, last week's field goal fest won't win. When you get chances to score touchdowns, you got to score touchdowns. And so they are you got to capitalize on any opportunity you get to either get off the field, extend a drive, score a touchdown, etc.
Bryson Daly is a guy that you can't really fill his shoes right with the way that he was able to play. But how have they been able to kind of replace him at quarterback?
Yeah, the 2 guys they've played the most, Dwayne Coleman and Cale Helms, those 2 guys are both good football players. It's a little bit more like how they've played the game probably in the past before last year. Like, Bryson Daly was an animal. Like, he was a one-man wrecking ball. And both these guys are good players. They both have different skill sets. They lean on what their strengths are when they put them in the game. And they both execute the offense at a high level. I just think Bryson Daly was he was one of those rare players. I mean, he was a guy that could probably jump on any college football team last year and have had a major impact at any position, not just quarterback. He could have played. I'd have gladly taken him as a linebacker, I mean, he's a really good player. These guys are good players too. They're just different players.
Coach, I know you said you didn't want to – last year's game has nothing to do on this year's game, but, like, guys who either started or had valuable reps, maybe like Sam Howard, Jack Gentry, like how valuable was their experience to this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think familiarity with the schematics of what they do, because it's unique. I think that's where the real value is. If you've seen this type of offense before as a player, Coach Gasparotto, our defensive coordinator, coached at Army, and he coached at Wofford, so he's been around these systems because in the SoCon you see a lot of this type of offense as well. And so, and like I said, Gas was there. So coaches see it. Players, the vision line of under center stuff they do, 3-back option, if you will, stuff they do, the vision line for your second and third level players and even your edge pieces is so much more unique and different than maybe like, say, a shotgun team. And so there's a lot of things that the vision lines, like what you're seeing, it's a different type of processing, and so the guys that have played against it more, it's going to be helpful for them. It's really hard to simulate. I told our team earlier this week, for us to have an opportunity to win this game, our offensive look team has got to be the MVP of the week. They got to have a great week of giving a defense a look.
That's actually following up on what you just talked about. It was that how do you have to shift things on the defensive side in order to match up against a team that does what they do, which you only get to really see something like this, once a year, right?
Yeah, we see it, we saw Navy and Army last year, but the offenses are not the same. No. I kind of kid around, like Navy's sort of like a sling T, like a wing T that wants to sling the ball around the yard. Army's like they want to mash you and then run by you. They want to mash you downhill, get the ball on the perimeter some and out leverage you, but then they want to throw the ball by you. Half their explosive plays are pass plays. That's what people don't realize. Like, they'll run the ball, milk the clock, bleed the clock, and then they'll throw it by you if you're not careful. And but yeah, it's a challenge in preparation. It is. It's one of those things that when you play a team like this, you kind of have to look at it a little extra maybe in the summer. The defensive staff has to kind of give it a little bit more attention this summer, maybe because it is a unique deal that you don't see a ton of.
Jari Garner probably had the best game of his career on Thursday. He's coming off a significant injury in the past. Just how much has he developed how valuable can he be for you?
Yeah, y'all probably get tired of me saying it. Better people make better players. Jari is an unbelievable person. I was heartbroken for him last year when he had his injury in spring practice because of the type of young man he is. I had no doubt his response would be the way it's been. He's been an absolute machine through the rehab process. Local product, St. Aug, alum. Man, just the kind of guy you like being around every day. Practices hard, loves football, great teammate, does whatever he can to help the team. Played 63 plays, I think, on defense, in Harvey's absence. Harvey will be back, it looks like, this week. He looks fine, but man, so happy for Jari's success. Him and Shine were co-players of the game defensively last week. So for us, and so Shine played really well. Jari played really well last week.
And then there's probably not a team in the country that has a better kicker punter combination in terms of the performance you've gotten this year. How much does that help you when you're?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of confidence. I mean, I think Durkin's come a long way. I think it helps to be the kicker when you feel better about the hold and the snap and everything, the operation. And then Alex been an invaluable addition. I mean, he's really quick with the ball in his hands, which is important this week because Army comes after every punt. Like, that's where one area I didn't hit on probably enough is their special teams units. We have to be dialed in because they're the most aggressive on punt block. So snapping and punting matter. Well, the great thing about Alex is he's quick. Like, when we tell him not to be quick, he's still quick. When we tell him to be quick, he can operate at 1.6 on the op time, and it's no big deal, which is pretty elite. But Alex been a big time addition and played really good football, and like where that group's at.
You talked about when Army can control the pace of a game, they're dangerous, and we've seen them been able to do that the last few years, even against Power 4 teams, and get wins like that. Do you kind of prepare for a situation like that, like if the pace gets on their side, and how difficult is it to kind of control it back in those situations when they're able to do so and control it?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared you have to understand how the opponent wants to play the game. And if they're able to dictate some things, you have to understand what you have to try to do to offset it. I've been a part of a few games with this type of offense, and man, it's always hard. These wins are never easy, ever. Like, ever. I've never been a part of an easy win versus type of offense or team or whatever. And so it's always hard-earned. It's always a 4-quarter game. It's always physical. It's always gritty and tough. And we have to maximize our opportunities. We can't make mistakes really in the kicking game. I'm glad Gary brought that up. But, like I said, they're well coached in all phases, but I think where they really do an elite job is special teams wise. Like, they're going to rush punts and field goals at a different level. They're going to fake punts and field goals. Like, every defensive call we got in this week, I've told our special team staff, and I met with them multiple times already, I'm like, guys, forget blocking a field goal. Just don't give up a fake. Now, sometimes on the punt side, we may have to come after all of them with great edges, like a lot of edge pressure, because they'll fake a punt, they'll fake a field goal, they'll do all kinds of stuff. They're really well coached in the special teams game, and we got to be on high alert for all that. Thank you. Awesome. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.